Joseph and his brothers, a story of betrayal, forgiveness, and divine providence. In the land of Canaan lived Jacob, also called Israel, the grandson of Abraham and the father of 12 sons. Among his sons, Jacob loved Joseph more than all the others, for Joseph was the son of his old age and the firstborn of his beloved wife Rachel. To show his affection, Jacob made Joseph a richly ornamented robe, a coat of many colors. The vibrant garment, stitched with care, flowed gracefully down Joseph's shoulders and set him apart from his brothers. Joseph was 17 years old, a shepherd tending the flocks with his brothers. But Joseph brought back bad reports about his brothers to their father. He was honest and upright, and what he saw in his brothers' conduct troubled him. As the days passed, Joseph began to have dreams, visions that he believed came from God. In one dream, he and his brothers were binding sheaves of grain in the field. Suddenly Joseph's sheaf rose and stood upright, while the others gathered around and bowed down to it. When he told his brothers this dream, their hatred grew. "Do you intend to reign over us?" they mocked. "Will you actually rule us?" Joseph had another dream. This time the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed to him. He shared it with his father and brothers. Jacob rebuked him, saying, "What is this dream you had? Shall I and your mother and your brothers indeed come to bow down to the ground before you?" Yet, Jacob pondered these words in his heart. He had wrestled with God and seen divine intervention before. He wondered if Joseph's dreams held a prophecy of the future. One day, Jacob sent Joseph to check on his brothers who were pasturing the flocks near Shechem. Joseph, ever obedient, journeyed alone to find them. After searching, a man found him wandering and directed him to Dothan, where his brothers had moved. When the brothers saw Joseph approaching in the distance, his colorful robe shining under the sun, their hearts burned with envy and hatred. "Here comes the dreamer," one sneered. "Come now, let's kill him and throw him into one of these pits. We'll say a wild animal devoured him. Then we'll see what becomes of his dreams." But Reuben, the eldest, intervened. "Do not shed blood. Throw him into the cistern in the wilderness, but don't lay a hand on him." Reuben intended to rescue Joseph later and return him to their father. As Joseph came near, unsuspecting, they seized him, stripped off his robe of many colors, and threw him into the empty cistern. It was deep, but dry. While they sat to eat, a caravan of Ishmaelite traders approached from Gilead, with camels bearing spices, balm, and myrrh on their way to Egypt. Judah, another brother, said, "What will we gain if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood." The others agreed. They lifted Joseph from the pit and sold him for 20 pieces of silver. As the traders bound Joseph and led him away, the brothers watched in silence. The weight of their guilt was heavy, yet their envy silenced remorse. When Reuben returned to the cistern and found Joseph gone, he tore his clothes in anguish. "The boy is gone. And where shall I go?" They took Joseph's robe, slaughtered a goat, and dipped the robe in its blood. Then they brought it to Jacob. "We found this," they said. "Examine it to see whether it is your son's robe." Jacob recognized it immediately. He wept bitterly, crying, "It is my son's robe. A wild animal has devoured him. Joseph has surely been torn to pieces." Jacob mourned for many days. No one could comfort him. "I will go down to the grave to my son in mourning," he said. Meanwhile, Joseph was taken to Egypt and sold to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, the captain of the guard. Though far from home, Joseph's heart remained steadfast. The Lord was with him, and he prospered. Potiphar noticed that everything Joseph touched succeeded. He made him overseer of his house, putting all that he owned under Joseph's care. From that moment, the Lord blessed Potiphar's household for Joseph's sake. Joseph was handsome and well-built. After a time, Potiphar's wife took notice of him. Day after day, she tried to seduce him, saying, "Lie with me." But Joseph refused. My master has withheld nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God?" Though she persisted, Joseph stood firm. One day, as he went into the house to attend to his duties, she caught him by his cloak. "Lie with me," she demanded. Joseph fled, leaving his cloak in her hand. Scorned, she screamed and falsely accused Joseph of assault. Potiphar, enraged, cast Joseph into prison. Yet even in the dungeon, the Lord was with him. In prison, Joseph found favor with the warden, who put him in charge of all the prisoners. One day, Pharaoh's chief cupbearer and baker were thrown into prison for offending their master. They each had a dream the same night. Seeing them troubled, Joseph asked, "Why are your faces downcast today?" "We both had dreams," they replied, "but there is no one to interpret them." Joseph said, "Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams." The cupbearer told his dream. "In my dream, there was a vine with 3 branches. It budded, blossomed, and produced grapes. I took the grapes, squeezed them into Pharaoh's cup, and gave it to him." Joseph interpreted, "The 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will restore you to your position. Remember me when it goes well with you," Joseph added. "Mention me to Pharaoh." The baker, seeing the favorable interpretation, shared his dream. "I had 3 baskets of bread on my head. In the top basket were baked goods for Pharaoh, but birds ate them." Joseph said, "The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift off your head and impale your body. Birds will eat your flesh." 3 days later, on Pharaoh's birthday, both prophecies came true. The cupbearer was restored, the baker executed. But the cupbearer forgot Joseph. 2 full years passed. Then Pharaoh had dreams that troubled him. In one, 7 fat cows were grazing by the Nile when 7 thin, ugly cows came and devoured them. In another, 7 healthy ears of grain were swallowed by 7 thin and scorched ones. None of Pharaoh's magicians could interpret the dreams. At last, the cupbearer remembered Joseph. "I know someone who can interpret dreams," he said. Joseph was summoned from the prison. After being shaved and dressed, he stood before Pharaoh. "I've heard you can interpret dreams," Pharaoh said. Replied, "I cannot. But God will give Pharaoh the answer he seeks." Pharaoh recounted his dreams. Joseph interpreted, "The dreams are one. God has revealed what he is about to do. The 7 fat cows and healthy heads of grain are 7 years of abundance. The 7 thin cows and scorched heads are 7 years of famine. The famine will be so severe that the years of abundance will be forgotten." Joseph advised, "Let Pharaoh appoint a wise man to oversee the land. Store 1/5 of the harvest during the good years to prepare for the famine." Pharaoh was impressed. "Can we find anyone like this man, in whom is the Spirit of God?" He appointed Joseph as second in command over Egypt, giving him a signet ring, fine garments, and authority over all the land. Joseph was 30 years old. During the 7 years of abundance, Joseph stored grain in every city. When the famine struck, it spread far and wide even to Canaan. Jacob heard there was grain in Egypt and 10 of his sons to buy food. Only Benjamin, Joseph's full brother, remained behind. When the brothers arrived in Egypt, they bowed before Joseph, fulfilling his dream from long ago. They did not recognize him, but Joseph knew them. He spoke harshly. "You are spies." "No, my lord," they replied. "We are honest men. We were 12 brothers. One is no more, and the youngest is with our father." To them, Joseph imprisoned Simeon and demanded they bring Benjamin. He returned their silver secretly in their sacks. Back in Canaan, Jacob was distressed. "You would bereave me of my children. Joseph is gone, Simeon is gone, and now you would take Benjamin?" But when the grain ran out, he had no choice. Reluctantly, Jacob sent them with Benjamin. Joseph sought his brother and was moved. He prepared a feast. Still, he concealed his identity. As a final test, he had his silver cup placed in Benjamin's sack. After they departed, his steward overtook them and accused them of theft. The cup was found in Benjamin's bag. The brothers tore their clothes in grief and returned. Judah pleaded, "Let me stay in place of the boy. Our father will die if Benjamin does not return." Joseph could no longer hold back his tears. He cried out, "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" The brothers were speechless. "Do not be distressed," Joseph said. "It was not you who sent me here, but God. He made me lord of all Egypt to save lives." He embraced them, weeping. Then he sent for Jacob. Jacob, now old and frail, came to Egypt with all his household, 70 in all. Pharaoh welcomed them and gave them the land of Goshen. Before he died, Jacob blessed each of his sons and gave his final instructions. He asked to be buried in Canaan with his fathers. When he died, Joseph wept and honored his request. Fearing Joseph's revenge, the brothers begged for mercy. But Joseph replied, "Do not be afraid. You intended evil against me, but God meant it for good to save many lives. I will provide for you and your children." And he kept his word. Moral lesson. The story of Joseph and his brothers, masterpiece of divine providence. Though betrayal, deceit, and injustice darken its beginning, the light of forgiveness, wisdom, and redemption shines brightly in the end. God can turn evil into good. What others mean for harm, God can use for a greater purpose. Forgiveness heals. Joseph's grace toward his brothers brings peace to a broken family. Faith through trials. Despite suffering, Joseph remained faithful, and God honored him. Through humility, Joseph led not by pride, but through servanthood and reliance on God. May we, like Joseph, trust in God's plan even in the darkest pit, knowing that He works all things together for good.
Thanks for watching Bible Takes. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.